Welcome to this video on drafting the disciplinary notice and charges. If you need to bring disciplinary charges against an employee and you need to learn more on how to do that, how to ensure that your charges are properly drafted, you are at the right place. At Extribyte, we are labor relations specialists, and we've dealt with many hearings and drafted charges for a long list of companies and organizations in both the private and the public sectors in South Africa over the last 15 years. And we gladly share some information with you. Normally, an investigation into allegations of misconduct would precede the drafting of a notice and charges. If an employer reaches the stage of deciding to bring allegations against an employee, it is assumed that grounds for serious misconduct were found during an investigation and that the required evidence is already available. So the investigation report is therefore a very valuable source from where charges can be drawn or compiled. It is also worthy to note that whatever is written in an allegation should be able to be supported by evidence, and that every element of what is put down in an allegation will have to be proved in the hearing that would follow. It will also be advisable at this stage to consult your disciplinary code and to look for an offence that closely resembles what the employee is alleged to have done wrong, or to look for the rule that was broken. Once you've identified a matching offence, ensure also that the recommended sanction is dismissal, as that would suggest that you must have a disciplinary hearing, and therefore you will have to draft a charge or an allegation. Should the recommended sanction be a warning or something other than a dismissal, you will have to look for another offence, or you'll have to decide to issue the warning without having to go to a formal hearing. If you want to charge a person with something such as fraud or corruption or theft, ensure that you know what the definition of the word or the offence is, as you will have to prove every element of that. Let us now have a look at how we draft a charge or an allegation. In drafting a charge or an allegation, always start with the words, "It is alleged that you have committed," or "It is alleged that you are guilty of," because this will show that the employee is not guilty yet, but is alleged to be guilty of the offence that will now follow. After that, you will now state the offence or the rule that was broken, such as assault or theft or gross insubordination. This will be followed by the description or the detail of what the person did that allegedly makes him or her guilty. Let's have a look at an example. It is alleged that you have made yourself guilty of insubordination. That's now the offence from your disciplinary code. And now the specific detail of the case will follow. In that, during the month of April 2020, you have failed to adhere to an instruction issued to you on 10 April 2020 by your supervisor, Mr. X, to schedule the 3 company vehicles for a service during the month of April, resulting in the vehicles still not being serviced, which has far-reaching implications for the company. So you always mention the offence from the code first, and then describe what the employee did, or perhaps failed to do, whilst being as specific as possible. Always mention dates, or places, or other relevant detail. This is very important, as it will prevent a situation where the employee will object to the charge at the start of the hearing, stating that he or she could not prepare properly as the charge or allegation lacks the necessary detail or it's vague. You can therefore not simply state insubordination or theft or abusive behavior. You must provide as much specific detail as possible in your charge. Now that you've drafted the allegation or charge, you now need to check or ensure what it is that will have to be proved in the hearing. In this case, you will have to prove, amongst other things, the following: that an instruction was given by Mr. X to the employee. On your screen, you will see that I have put this in bold letters. That Mr. X is the supervisor of the employee and that he can issue such instruction. The detail of the instruction needs to be proved, such as the vehicles and the servicing and so forth. That the instruction was given or issued on the 10th of April. That the employee had to do the servicing of the vehicle in the month of April and that he failed. That the vehicles are still not serviced and that this has far-reaching implications for the company. It is also important to decide how many charges to bring against an employee. There's no need to bring 15 charges if 1 or 2 strong charges would see the employee being guilty and dismissed. Over the years, we have seen many employers bringing scores of allegations against an employee, wasting a lot of time and money on long hearings and arguments where they could have disposed of the matter by using 1 or 2 strong charges. The allegations or charges also form part of the notice that has to be issued to the employee in notifying him or her of the ensuing hearing. Notice, therefore, also need to include details of the hearing, such as the date and the time and the place, whilst it needs to be served on the employee in compliance with the prescribed notice period that you should be able to find in your disciplinary code and procedure. The notice must also include the employee's rights during the hearing, whilst the notice and the charges are preferably to be served on the employee in person if that is possible. If you follow these guidelines, you should be able to draft proper allegations and charges against an employee. We also have a fully online course on how to draft proper disciplinary charges and a notice with practical exercises and case studies that will take you through every aspect in detail, following a step-by-step guide or approach. And you can do this course on your cell phone or on a laptop, and you can do the course as many times as you want within a 5-day time period. The course duration is 2 hours, and you can do the training in your own time as and when you want. So visit our website at www.extribyte.co.za for an overview of the course or to enroll. Thank you for watching this video.